In a project launching workshop, Imagine One Day, a Maqala-based NGO and Tigray Bureau of Education in collaboration with UNICEF launched a 232 million project with the aim of increasing access to protective and inclusive learning opportunities for crisis-affected children, girls, women, and people with disability in Tigray. Among the participants, head of Tigray Bureau of Education, Dr. Kiros Gush, recalled the devastating impact the war has brought to students, schools, the curriculum, and the overall system of the education sector in Tigray. The head reiterates the valuable impact launching these kind of projects to the 2.4 million children who have been out of school for more than 2 years due to the war in Tigray.
The war on Tigray has devastated everything that we had earlier. It has devastated our schools. All of the schools, 2,490 schools, either partially or completely destroyed, and the curriculum has get collapsed, and our staff devastated to unprecedented level, and accordingly, more than 2.4 million children are out of school, and this 2.4 million children means nearly about 30% of the Tigray population. Therefore, supporting this 2.4 million children means supporting 30% of the total population, and supporting this 2.4 million children means investing in Tigray's future, and it means a lot.
The head urged the donor organizations to consider the greater intensity of the damage inflicted in Tigray in the process of national resource allocation.
Therefore, justice is to acknowledge what you have been doing so far, and to urge you that resource distribution allocation should consider all this data.
During the project launching workshop, National Program Director of Imagine One Day in North Ethiopia, Halafum Gazai, says Imagine One Day played a pivotal role in alleviating the challenges of the people of Tigray pre, during, and post-war times. The director says launching these projects with 232 million birr will provide the necessary support to accelerate the rehabilitation process in Tigray.
Since the Tigray crisis has been commenced in 2021, Imagine One Day automatically converted its development approaches to emergency response approaches. All the education programs were changed to education in emergency, child protection in emergency, JBV in emergency, WASH in emergency, and other opportunity pillars already converted to emergency projects. And then currently we completed the emergency implementation for the last 2.5 years. Now Tigray is just transition to the recovery approach, to the rehabilitation phase. And then we are supporting education the same in rehabilitation, child protection, GBV, and WASH. So the three projects that we have launched today are part of the rehabilitation projects. We implement for about 232 million Ethiopian birr to invest on education, protection, and some other wash facilities for schools and for host communities as well.
In the project launching workshop, education specialist and cluster coordinator in UNICEF, Derbla Egan, reminds the extent of damage the war has brought on children's education in Tigray. She stressed on the substantial impact these projects can bring in education, since education is one of the major tools that provides the safest environment for the crisis-affected group in Tigray. She adds, launching these kind of projects considers the current situation in Tigray and enables the vulnerable group receive mental health and psychological support they need to access education.
The last couple of years have been incredibly difficult for children in particular. We have children that have been out of school for more than 3 years, following the COVID-19 pandemic, and then also the conflict in the region. One thing that maybe I would like to touch on or emphasize is that often when we think about education, it's impossible for us to think about children going to school without there being some link with protection. And I say this because we know that when children are in school, they're more protected from risk and they're less exposed to harm. And in the current context in Tigray, we know that it's incredibly important that both children and teachers and social workers receive the mental health and psychosocial support that they need in order for children to be able to access education and continue on with their learning.
The education specialist says the projects need to consider the people with disabilities since the war has left many with several disabilities.
Since schools have reopened after the crisis, and it's something that we really feel strongly about, UNICEF and Imagine One Day, together with the Regional Education Bureau and the regional government authorities, we need to try to ensure access to education for children with a disability in Tigray, to ensure that they are not left behind and that they have adequate opportunities to continue their education, to have hope for the future, and to access, on the longer time, livelihood and employment opportunities.
The National Program Director of Imagine One Day in North Ethiopia, Halofum Gezai, hinted on the existence of further upcoming projects that are funded by other donors apart from the major donor, UNICEF.